Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. MVP walking away with game number 1 in 35 minutes. Very convincing fashion by them, and we're ahead in every single facet of the game that you could even think of. They were excelling it, and SK Telecom, this is some of the sloppiest play we have ever seen by them.
A lot of people, had a bit of a chance to look at Reddit, look at Twitter, see what everyone was saying. There was, I think, justified criticisms in every direction. You look at the draft and you say, well, it's not a lot of damage outside the Sivir, but I think that was, by far not their biggest concern here, because even when you think of what this comp does do, they botched basically every attempt at some sort of wombo combo. Yeah. They weren't really able to use what they had, and also they played to the strengths of the enemy comp. So they downplayed their own strengths and also kind of accentuated the enemy's strengths, which was a weird thing to see. Max got caught a lot, but we'll be picking up the MVP in this game. Tahm Kench could be oh so important. Not really sure why Max picked up the MVP, but maybe the replays will let us know.
Yeah, my vote was for Beyond, but we'll go ahead and take a look at Max as we take a look at Beyond.
Yep, this was FLICKR looking at bot lane and dying. Cool pose, but from there, he wasn't. Sorry, I should apologize. He got out, but wasn't able to adventure to the bot side. One of Thal's
there we go.
Very poor teleports this game.
Yeah, the Abyssal Voyage coming in to get the Devour to help get the kill there.
Also remember, Kilios, Berserker's Greaves, Ezreal, a winning choice.
Yeah, all right. There you go. MaHa, you've gained my respect.
This was one of those attempts at the wombo. The Let's Bounces were going fearsomely wide in this game, making Max's job pretty easy in a lot of the cases. Ian came in and was a monster already. The Infinity Edge build with the double, then triple Infernal was certainly doing a lot of damage.
Yeah. Another Abyssal Voyage. So yeah, I mean, a decent amount of catches coming through here. One of the last kills there onto Thal as they got ready to close out the game, and had the Devour here to help Gangplank out of the pit. But again, I give credit to Beyond for landing the ultimate first and foremost.
Gatekeeping was good though. That was the play that was the most impressive by Max, was stopping the Baron buff from being contested. So congratulations to Max, who hasn't had a lot to smile about. We know he's a very powerful support player. I would say most mechanically gifted player on his team. Subs from SKT are no surprise, but dissecting where they can make the most change will be interesting. And actually, it's the first time that Effort will be subbed out, so Wolf going to be flexing over to the support role. Has been jungling this season. If you look at him in solo queue, also playing jungle. So while it's no surprise that he's able to play support, he has been trying to reinforce the jungle position. They don't want to use Blossom, who is top 10 in solo queue, but is a true rookie. They don't feel that they can roll him in. We will be seeing Thal keep his position. I don't know what that says about the power level of Untara right now if he can't get a look in after a game like that.
It's hard to say, which is it? Is it that Thal is that much better than Untara at the moment, or is it that Wolf can direct Thal more easily as he is a young rookie player? Maybe this will let us know which it's going to be here, as Wolf will be coming back in and offering his voice to SKT to try to extend this series to a Game 3, which they so desperately need at this point. But here we go. Draft is ready to go. SKT going to be back over onto that blue side, and yet again we'll start off with the Bard ban.
They say that teams are defined by how they do in a struggle. And this is about as much of a low-table struggle as SKT have ever had. This needs to be the moment where they send out a resounding barrage and show their true strength, show what they're capable of, because a loss here would certainly turn basically every head in competitive League of Legends towards their struggles. The Bard ban, again, it's a bit bizarre, but it is a lot of lane power, so taking away the Bard does take away some of Max's aggressive options in the bot side. And the Galio, look, first picking, it's not working out for them. Taking in the first rotation, not working out for them. They're going to be going for something more conventional. And the good news about this one is FLICKR's probably going to be on a carry if the Galio's off the board.
We saw the Zoe available in the last game, was not taken by either side. Was excited to see it potentially there from FLICKR. Maybe with the Galio off the table, we can finally see it. And he could show just how much prowess he has with that carry out of the mid lane. Kalista, the final ban here by SKT.
Sejuani, Zoe, and Ezreal are the big picks that will be considered here when it comes to first pick for SKT. Sejuani will be probably taken if available. So Sejuani or Zoe are the biggest priority. Doesn't seem like Ian has the same priority on Zoe he did before. I think you have to take Sejuani, so it will be locked in. See what MVP makes of this draft. The GP got a lot of value in the previous game, and Thal's counter pick didn't work, so He'll have to go back to the drawing board. Probably won't be a second Nasus game in a row.
Looks like the Tahm Kench yet again there for Max. And ignoring the Zoe here is MVP. They're going to pick up the J4 SKT. Do we see it?
Azir or Zoe? Surely we have to see a carry come through the side of SKT, and we might even see a top lane carry. Thal wants to put the shoe on the other foot and look more aggressive.
I would love for ADD to answer with a Nasus. If they lock that one in.
Probably shouldn't answer with a Scion, is all I'm thinking, but...
Yeah, that one wouldn't be too nice, but will it happen here?
With the Vladimir coverage ban, you're kind of thing that Gangplank can get through most of the tricky matchups. I don't know how ADD's Riven looks, but probably not going to be seeing that from him. And the Kog'Maw going to be selected here, you'd imagine, by SKT. They were setting up for a Kog'Maw with the Bard ban in Game 1, and you see it here again. Bard is one of the champions who can really trivialize Twitch and Kog, you know, these very long outrange champions. So it does explain why we saw a Bard ban in Game 2. Doesn't explain why we saw it in Game 1. Maybe they pivoted their strategy at the last minute, but Bard's strength against Kog'Maw specifically, in lane and out of lane, is why we see a Bard ban.
The last pick of the half here for MVP. Seems like Ian maybe feeling like the Azir. They will go ahead and lock that one in, so not on the board for FLICKR any longer. He wants to take that. Braum is going to be the first ban here by MVP. Zoe's still on the board. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, Papa Smithy.
Very real possibility if we get to SKT's round of picks and we haven't seen it ban away by MVP. MVP themselves looking for a top laner to try to crush the Gangplank. And also their AD carry. It's not going to be AD carry ban first, and we will see MVP, the Zoe ban. And that means probably Malzahar duty for SKT and for FLICKR himself. Wait and see if that's confirmed. I'd love to see something else. Varus banned away from MaHa, a bit of a staple for him. He's usually on the Kog'Maw side of things this season. Ezreal Kog, his two biggest picks. The Varus preceding that. Only other champion was Twitch, which would be an interesting choice. So why not go for the Sivir here? As his thought would mean they have that duo Achilles, the 90-minute the dream of Azir and Sivir.
Oh dear. Here we are.
There's a storm gathering, then something could pay off big. Where's FLICKR going? Will it be the Malzahar for a control ultimate? Potential to all in the Azir. Rise, usually one of the answers taken away. Zoe, one of the answers taken away.
We saw Veigar the first couple weeks of the season as well being brought out.
Pawn favorite. A support choice here. We've seen some Soraka in solo queue. We might actually see it locked in. There's not a lot of backline access outside of the Jarvan. And we will see Wolf return to an old favorite in the Soraka, we assume in the support role. Surely we're not going to see some super insanity.
Mid lane Soraka, back again.
Top lane Soraka is a troll solo queue champion that does surprisingly well, but almost certainly going to be support. FLICKR wants to look for lane. It'll be a post-6 choice, and he already has a loss on Kassadin this season. Not been one of his most effective picks. Kassadin and Vladimir have been ones they've struggled on. This will mean the team is pretty short of wave clear. Kog'Maw with a Hurricane, Gangplank with a lot of items and some crit maybe, but wave clear compared to MVP is obviously completely night and day.
Yeah, very lacking. Not a lot of options to keep the Kog'Maw protected
ADD.
If somebody can get onto him. Flashes it for a second, but it's going to be the Rumble into the Gangplank.
I think it's our second Rumble of the season, not being a favorite. Might be our first as well. Burns down the Gangplank, has a lot of all-in options. Interesting choice here, and he can go Ignite as well, because Unsealed Spellbook, a very viable choice on the Rumble. So it's going to be a laning-focused Rumble. Rumble and Jarvan, best friends forever, because Cataclysm guarantees the positioning of the Equalizer. Very interesting choice. Probably going to have to see FLICKR go for a defensive build against double AP. You'd imagine he would opt into the Abyssal Mask, even if it isn't FLICKR-esque. Interesting draft here from SKT. They seem to have a very different read on the meta to any other team. Going to the Soraka, a ranged bot laner who wants to stay out of threat range. Kog'Maw gets burned down by Rumble. It's one of those old counters to Twitch and Kog'Maw, was to just put the red carpet down and force him to move. Soraka also will have to watch her positioning. This is different from basically what every other team is playing here on both sides.
Big shift here for SKT. So much tankiness in the last game, not a lot of damage sources this time. A lot of damage sources, but not a lot of tankiness. Soraka out of the bottom lane, just going to be offering up those heals to try to keep everybody sustained, but won't really be able to soak damage herself.
And Sejuani, the only person who can face check to put down vision. If they fall behind here against a mid-game comp like MVP have, it's scary, Achilles.
All right, well, MVP going to be looking to complete the 2-0 for the first time, already beating SKT for the first time since they've joined the league. Now looking to knock them down with a 2-0 loss and start climbing back up the ladder. Let's see if they can do it, or if SKT can take us to a game 3 with Wolf added back into the mix.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Unsurprising, both teams, audience there cheering them on with everything that they can possibly muster into their voices.
I think SKT need everyone to send their energy to them, because whatever's been happening so far in their first games of the season, it hasn't been enough. And we're still unsure, we're still unable to truly diagnose. You'd think only the information was available to the team and coaching staff themselves, but after that Game 1 performance, they need to throw out the trash and show us something great here in Game 2. And the first thought towards that is bringing back Wolf. We've said in Game 1 they were lacking a veteran shot caller. They add a lot of games played, 540 odd games played in competitive play by Wolf. But he's actually on a roll. He hasn't been playing in solo queue recently. Is that a big factor? No, it's Wolf. He's played a lot of games. Even when he was a support main, he didn't play a lot of support. But he's clearly been practicing jungle for a reason. Blank did not cover himself in glory in Game 1. And Thal did the opposite. He had a really, really rough game. So let's see if Thal can level up on a bit more comfort. He's usually on the aggressive laners, this time on the Gangplank.
Well, spotting out there, going to be seeing that Beyond is not starting over at the blue buff. There's quite a bit of information over there to Blank. Get to watch the Rumble into GP matchup. He said, I believe, second time that we've had it this season, so it has not been the most popular. We don't have Marin playing anymore.
It's true. Rumble with the new runes, kind of in a weird spot. Now that Unsealed Spellbook is just better than everything, I guess he does have a rune because he wants to teleport a lot, and he can take Ignite for lane control. The last time we saw Rumble in the meta against Gangplank was a while ago, and that was when you had the lower base cooldown on the Q, so you could harass more often. Here the Ignite kind of balances everything out. Has gone for the Domination Tree second for the zombie wards, you'd imagine. Cheap Shot would also be pretty good on Rumble, so maybe we'll get the runes a little bit later. Yeah, ADD looking for lane control, windows of power for certain, and if Beyond shows up, who's already there for the classic turret dive, for now at least, just going to steal away a Gromp, back off, not going to go too high risk here as Beyond. Doesn't have a Talia to back him up like we saw in Series 1.
Definitely be a bit of a suicide mission to go in underneath that turret by himself, or just with ADD there to back him up. The Scrap Shield not going to absorb a whole lot of that damage, so.
Blank's only got, as you can see, one buff. He did not take his blue. Read that the Rumble would push in and that Jarvan would contest, and now spots out the Jarvan as well. So he does have push in the bot side. Soraka could walk up to help him, but Soraka doesn't have that much combat relevance early. FLICKR predictably as Kassadin making a lot of harass in the mid lane. So, sorry Blank, you're going to have to take your Raptors in order to hit level 3. 3 buff does happen by MVP.
Not a great record there.
No, I said Kassadin and Vladimir seem to be his two biggest Achilles heel. Both of them very low win rate.
Yeah.
On Vladimir, pushed his advantages too hard. Almost one-shot deft, but the almost led to the winning passage of play for KT Rolster. And I've had my concerns with his ability to respond to the map on Vladimir. Has been roamed on many times when it used to be the Ghost Flash meta, and in general just wasn't able to quite carry it over this season. The Kassadin just hasn't worked out for him. I mean, lane dominance, the Lulu Ignite meta was probably FLICKR and SKT's most dominant in 2015. Feeling like a long time ago.
I'm sure a lot of SKT fans right now would love to go back to that Lulu meta, something that we once all kind of scoffed at, called it boring and everything, but you know, if you want SKT to excel, then you would love to have that back right now.
ADD was one of our late convert Rumbles. He wasn't Smeb or Marin, the Rumble gods, but it's actually good for someone who usually was just playing the tanks. There's a lot of setup for the equalizer here. Kog'Maw and Soraka are going to be usually the big target for that. MVP has owned the top blue side jungle. Probably going to see the first visit in from Blank. He's spotted, level 3 to level 4.
He's going to go in, gets the pop up there with the flag and drag.
Trying to body block any sort of defensive Arctic Assault.
Roam's coming through from FLICKR now, being matched by Ian. Beyond's going to get frozen, and just a dash over the wall there from Blank should take him out to safety.
Crucially, ADD doesn't have level 6 yet, so wasn't able to just throw down a long-range equalizer, but Blank is getting no camps on his top side, that's for sure.
Beyond going to be able to finish off those wolves and find that control ward inside the blue brush as well. So deny some of that vision.
Two-level advantage. Remember, the catch-up experience isn't a thing in 2018, so this is actually significantly behind. He's going to try and spot out the wolves, but they haven't respawned yet.
All been taken.
There's no camps for him on the bot side.
This is rough. He'll just find the ward. Blank. Oh, Blank.
Does he have the safety to take it? Hard to say if he's missed it or he didn't feel the safety, and we know that Sivir is walking up. That's why you see the question mark pings. That wasn't a mistake.
Okay.
That was him feeling like he didn't have the latitude in order to clear it.
Just after game 1,
I know.
It's so hard to say whether or not it's a mistake for me.
Jarvan is crushing this game, by the way.
Yes, he is. This is the Beyond that we have been wanting to see for quite some time.
He is spotted on multiple wards, the zombie ward, but also the control ward. That one gets value from Blank.
2-level advantage here.
Yeah.
So Blank, even if he wants to start something up, it would be 2 level 6s.
In previous seasons, catch-up experience meant you could go for crazy ganks. MLXG, the biggest proponent of this, and then eventually you'd get camps. Eventually you'd get the catch-up experience to keep within touching distance. But he's a full level behind, only pings level 5 from the Raptors. Wolf was the last person to play Soraka. He kind of brought it over. Was playing it at MSI, I believe, a bit out of meta. Also, when Europe was playing a lot of Soraka, he kind of took the range support thing from other regions and tried to bring it here.
It was a loss for ESC ever, so certainly not one that he wants to remember. He wants to have a better game here. Because at this point, a loss to MVP would be way more embarrassing than ESC ever back in the day.
Yeah. Yep. That's a very simple point, Achilles. You're 100% correct. I have nothing to say other than that might happen.
For those who haven't been watching for that long, since 2016. ESC went on to become what is now BBQ Oliver's.
That's right. They went on to give us free chickens. They did their job.
I still haven't had it yet.
Went over to beat TSM at IEM.
I have not cast BBQ Oliver's yet this season.
That's your loss, apparently.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work something out here with Atlas.
Beyond gonna steal away the blue.
Yep. Thank you very much. FLICKR's poked out in mid.
Good news though. Blank is around some jungle camps, and we'll at least have the wards around the enemy blue. Doesn't take the walls. He's playing so safely. He knows he can't afford to make a big mistake. Didn't go aftershock. He actually went fleet footwork on the Sejuani, trying to be relevant in the early game himself, but that's already gone and done. Just watching the path. This is the sort of game where tracking the camps in order that Beyond took will be very interesting, because he has been able to both take advantage of Blank's tendencies and also his strong winning matchup on the top side with the Rumble going Ignite. I love when a jungler has Ignite as a top laner and then does everything around it to maximize the value. Gangplank's never going to rotate first against Ignite Rumble. It doesn't have the wave clear or the presence in lane. And from that, Beyond has basically made Blank's life a misery.
Certainly not having a fun time. Still level 5, still going to be a full level behind Beyond. Might be going for the blue buff here. Pings are coming out.
On the way ping from the side of MVP, but it's a good timing this time by Beyond. Everyone had backed, including Beyond himself.
FLICKR's going to be here to go ahead and scoop this up. The pings are coming out, so MVP are aware of this.
Yeah, they actually use the Abyssal Voyage that fast.
Yeah, it's just going to be the smite out there from Blank, so forces it off of FLICKR at least. Zian tries to get a little bit aggressive here versus the Kassadin,
who is going the defensive build. You just see a Negatron cloak there. No, not 100%. He'll just straight up build an Abyssal Mask just because he has the parts of it, but seeming very, very likely. Was behind in CS, but extra shopping trip for Ian has allowed him to catch up.
I'd say probably biggest worry is Beyond steals away a couple of those little Krugs. Biggest worry probably for MVP at this point is going to be the CS discrepancy between Bang and MaHa. Has not had much control at this point, but they're looking to turn that around as they start up another Infernal.
The Soraka's a pretty heavy pick for lane, but like you say, spotted out here. No teleport on ADD, but none available on Thal. Cannon Barrage
50-50,
available.
classic stuff here. It's still going to be taken by Beyond way too early from Blank to try to get the steal away. Beyond goes forward with the flag and drag, has the flash over the wall there at the end. As Bang starts hitting him up with some damage. So a bit too aggressive there, but also itchy trigger finger there from Blank.
I mean, Blank's nickname in 2017 summer was the closer Achilles. He was supposed to be the cool, calm, and collected Terminator in games. He had to draw out Blank by beating Peanut. Not cool, calm, or collected with the early smite, like you mentioned.
I had the combo, try to get the lock up onto him and then just try to outsmite, but Beyond just waited patiently. Takes that one away, and another Infernal Drake start. We don't have a second one coming up immediately, but we have a Cloud next.
He's 6 camps ahead of him as well.
Yeah.
Insane amount.
And this just brings us back to wondering, when will we see Blossom? Will we see Blossom, or will we just see Wolf rotated back into the jungle and effort back on support?
And I think this is the time when a lot of people, the tinfoil hats come on with SKT. A lot of people saying, where's Marin? Will Marin come in? Available, so could be added to the roster for second round robin even then, or summer. He did say he was taking the spring season off, but a lot of things possible. Maybe it's time to unretire Bengi, He's in, obviously, the squad. He could easily be added to the playing roster and come back. Last seen on Vici Gaming, it wasn't a great last season for Bengi, but he would again bring experience. You start thinking about the what-ifs, and you start getting a bit scared if you're an SKT fan.
I mean, 8.2 would be the perfect patch to do so, what with Nunu and the buffs.
Again, could be elevated for the second round robin. This is SK Telecom's 5th game.
Yeah.
They'd have to play 4 more matches afterwards, but definitely going to be food for thought at least, as they want to end the laning phase of the Kassadin in mid lane.
Well, TP's coming through here from FLICKR, but he's just going to have to peel back here in a second. My turn. Be able to scoop up the minions as the MVP fans show their voices out there in the audience.
Not a lot of them. There's a lot of fans in the audience, but on both sides, there are SKT fans. SKT's popularity is a worldwide phenomenon. I said that really weird. Phenomenon, but, A
lot of our audience is probably too young for that reference.
You're aging us. Usually it's me aging us, Achilles. The ranged support and also the lack of threat onto the Soraka has meant a free lane for Bang. Very difficult to categorize Kog'Maw, but with the on-hit build, he's certainly less of a 6-item terror and more of a 1 to 2-item terror. Probably going to have to be Wit's End second, so going to be single target from the Kog'Maw, but does get the buff from the Kassadin having the Abyssal Mask and the own magic resist shredding of the Wit's End. FLICKR, no turret, has to push up to have a bit of lane presence. Like just hoping against hope that they'll be stopped invading, but invading continues by the Rumble.
Blue buff. We'll get handed off to FLICKR this time around.
Look at the build here, interesting. So Ian is actually going to an old favorite, the Morellonomicon rush on the Azir. The reason for that is the grievous wounds on the Soraka. Going to be able to, if she ever gets chunked out, push a soldier through, get him down to 40% health or less and start the grievous wounds. Berserker Greaves Morellonomicon was always a situational build to actually get the attack speed from somewhere. So we'll see if the Berserker Greaves are going to be completed for Ian.
Try to deny her saving anybody with the Wish ultimate there. Keep everybody alive, so.
Low attack speed Azir is such a weird thing to watch.
Yeah, I know. It's,
he looks like he's just had a really hard day out in the farm. He's
feels pretty bad.
Slowest ever swings. Nashor's Tooth every game, of course, for the longest time. But again, the Berserker's Greaves does bring back some oomph, and you only get power out of the Nashor's Tooth damage on the melee range, the Azir auto attack, rather than the soldiers. So, not necessarily going to be as big of pitfall there. One level behind, still is Blank. Not going to get the steal here either.
Yep, but now going to be starting up the blue buff. FLICKR's on the roam over, and Wolf and Bang can cheat their way up the river.
There's a Voyage available, but Max just walking up.
There's no smite here for Beyond, so Blank might just be able to take this one away.
Remember that ADD does have teleport now. He switched over.
Well, it seems like he's not going to be able to take this. Ian will just get the blue buff. We'll be all right. Max tries to clear these out. But taking a bit of harass, and right then, Horde is going to be invisible again, so we'll be able to finish it off.
Bot lane, the good news story for SKT. Bang just keeps pushing in relentlessly, has the first item already complete here in the Ginsu Rage Blade, whereas MaHa piecing together. I wonder if it'll be Infinity Edge from MaHa and not be going for the Essence Reaver first. Just looking for the crit strike damage early to try to burst through one of the threats. 3 threats this time for SKT, and that's when we talked about Sivir in Game 1. Infinity Edge being completed with some attack speed with a Zeal item is big threat to 3 members of SKT. 4 members, I should say.
Yeah.
Even only Sejuani is going to be robust enough to ignore the damage.
Probably would like to have that damage up front as well, since he had to go for the Morellonomicon start. The damage from the Azir is going to take a little while longer to really scale in.
It's pretty similar when you get the Berserker Greaves. I believe you lose out on a bit of attack speed and have a bit more AP is the kind of upshoot of it. There are the Berserker Greaves to confirm the build.
Well, then maybe MaHa's just greedy and wants to top the damage charts.
Very possible. First person to actually bring out the Infinity Edge and the Static Shiv over what was the established Essence Reaver that Prey was always a big fan of was Bang himself, who right to the end was going for the IE and Static Shiv early, and it seems like that's going to be the build here from MaHa. Scaling here for SKT, obviously very strong. There's certainly going to be, when Kassadin and Gangplank get online, a lot of options here for SKT. But MVP also, they have the delay duo of Sivir and Azir. They get some flashes down, and then Rumble will be doing plenty of heavy lifting as well. High damage from both compositions means we should get some explosive teamfights that are based more on setup than necessarily the scalings of the champions.
Fighting in a choke could be great for them. Ian going forward, maybe looking for the Emperor's Divide as Beyond wraps his way around, but doesn't see the opening. So just gets a little bit of damage in, and that's about it.
Despite their good early game, MVP is slacking a little bit here because they've had the mid lane turret of FLICKR down for the longest time. They're not denying CS. They're not taking advantage of their extra control in mid lane outside of Drake's. It was a 50-50 for the first one. It's looking like a 50-50 for the second one.
Well, this is the classic MVP. We know that they love going for these. TP's going to be coming in on the back. Goes low, and that's going to be Beyond yet again, smiting away the dragon. That's just going to be the full retreat here from both sides. FLICKR maybe pinched on here in the mid lane. Ian going to be looking for another one here. Pushes him straight in. He'll have to flash the wall. Equalizer comes down. Gets a bit of damage in onto FLICKR. Shifts the Sand Soldiers forward, looking for more hits. But FLICKR has the blast cone, and he will get out with his life. But barely so.
Ian uses flash, not knowing about the blast cone. That ended up being a waste. SKT in all of this, just happy to take some turret shots while Bang rains down damage on this outer bot lane turret. I get an answering turret here to SK Telecom after the much earlier mid lane one was taken by MVP. Vision for this game better. You know, there's no vision advantage for MVP. There's a vision advantage for MVP. When it comes to the side of SKT, it's only super defensive vision, so while it's not necessarily fantastic, they're not getting dominated in one quadrant of the jungle like they were in Game 1. They need to put together their fundamentals, which for now is a very strong Kog'Maw for this point in the game. 30 CS up on Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
Is certainly something to talk about, soon to be the wit's end. Trinity Force now on Gangplank. There are more good news stories for SKT in Game 2 than there was in Game 1.
A 500 gold lead just about there for Thal up in the top lane because of the Kleptomancy and the parlay coming through. So he's got that advantage for him. 600 for Bang in the bottom lane. Just trying to keep everything nice and neck here, as they're about less than 100 gold apart right now.
Big fan of this Sun turret aggressively unless something's happening with Azir and Jarvan, and Jarvan's in his own jungle, so for now no value out of putting down the Sun turret, barring annoying FLICKR for a little bit. Blank has just been shadowing, trying to stop there being turret dives on the bot side. Soraka in pro play usually means being targeted down and killed multiple times. We saw her at the World Championships in the Ardent Sensor meta.
Nope.
But no ganks towards the Soraka. It's been a happy farming time for the side of SKT.
FLICKR gotta be careful there. Gets knocked down to about half HP.
Doesn't do much damage at the moment because of his tanky build as well.
Yeah, has the Sheen in the inventory here, so gonna be looking for that Lich Bane. As MVP maybe looking to knock down another turret here. Should be able to do so. And there you go. Disappears. MaHa gets the last hit. So 2-0 in that regard, but MVP still barely ahead. Only a few hundred gold separating.
All there are good parts of SKT's draft. When they committed to the Kassadin, the engage is really just Sejuani throwing out an ult. If it misses, no engage. The Gangplank ultimate is definitely not primary engage, although Gangplank himself is getting powerful. He might solo kill here.
Gonna go low. Stopwatch gets popped here. ADD flashes away. Thal chasing in. One more hit would do it. He goes golden as ADD desperately tries to run away, and he's actually going to make it out alive. Couldn't quite see how much HP he had, but well, that was a close one.
Yeah, we see 41 now, so it's probably around 15 HP at the end there. They tried to just Abyssal Voyage on top of Thal, but smartly, he's back at the turret. That looked like Thal's moment to shine to actually get that first blood of the game. 20 minutes in, we have not had a kill yet in this game. Scaling there for SKT means that's not necessarily a bad thing. Still do not see it there. Credit to ADD for making the escape.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Just now realizing that it really has not been any kills in this one so far.
2-level advantage still for Beyond, by the way. It's going to be soon 1 level. He's just a small minion away from 10, but you can cement experience advantages in the jungle, to repeat the point, in a way that was impossible before. Have some advanced vision here to MVP. They want to crash the 3rd outer turret. But Jarvan just returns to his Krug, so he'll slow down any sort of advance, any threat of a turret dive.
Going aggressive. There's a bit of damage there onto Ian, but that's about it. Just, yeah, that swap up towards the top side of the map for our bottom lane members here. As Max and MaHa, yet again, just going to be trying to duke it out with Bang & Wolf.
AD's
has
build.
gone for the Essence Reaver.
Yes, it did end up being a delayed Essence Reaver. The power of Essence Reaver by itself is very low, so I think it's fine to pick it up second. You usually see it first, but a bit of an adjustment here. So Infinity Edge still expected to come online 3rd or 4th item. There's some argument to going 2nd Zeal item before Infinity Edge, but big fan of IE being completed as fast as possible. In the mid lane.
Ultimate tossed out there, and, well, just like you said, ultimate doesn't connect, there's no engage, so Ian's going to be fine.
And FLICKR only has a Lich Bane when it comes to offensive stacks. Ultimate use on ADD, they want to turret dive him here. Over time, they certainly can't kill him.
Yeah, no stopwatch this time around, so FLICKR going to be jumping in. Equalizer comes down, ADD gets chunked out, and FLICKR will be finding that first blood. Thal goes low, as does FLICKR, but not going to be able to get the kills. Or they're in the brush. MVP going to be spotted out, but they will be able to knock down this final outer turret in all likelihood.
They know they can walk up to it. Kassadin still recalling, so no teleport play. Now the teleport down behind them. This is SKT's moment. Might just be a teleport cancel. Because Sejuani didn't have ult, they couldn't stick and engage, so they do pull out.
Yep. Thal just going to go ahead and move the minion wave up into the tier 2 in the bottom side of the map, but can't really stick around to try to chunk that one out, even though he has that Trinity Force and would make quick work of it. So 3-1, SKT barely stretching their neck out for a lead. They would love to deny double Infernal Drake yet again over to MVP, as that is spawning in 8 seconds, but you can already see they're the ones getting prepped for this.
Yep, they're going to have the Scuttle Crab. They're going to have a little bit of vision. Control ward in the rush just next to where the outer turret for SKT would have been in bot side, so pretty even in terms of vision control, but the Scuttle is a big advantage. Do SKT win a true 5v5? My initial impression is no. Actually, when Equalizer's off cooldown in about 15 seconds.
Yeah, as long as the position of that isn't totally wonky by ADD.
They also have 5 members here very early. So SKT don't want to give up a second Infernal. They know they'll get a turret for it, but let's see how severe the contest is.
It seems like they're just going to go ahead and peel off this one, maybe get the fast track into the mid lane. 4 members grouped up there, and Thal will go ahead and finish off the turret, so that gives SKT over 1,000 gold advantage here.
Thal is very strong in this game compared to game 1. Also, his teleports are going to be slightly less important just because Gangplank isn't making any flanking teleport plays and already has a global. So if he teleports in second, he at least will have immediate impact with his Cannon Barrage. Has gone for Essence Reaver himself, so carry build here. So he's going to have 40% CDR very early into the game.
Yeah.
Already has it now, actually. That's 40% CDR from items there. Just with the Crit Cloak on the way to Phantom Dancer as his 3rd big completed item.
Well, certainly going to be keeping that mana topped up, and then has the Hex Drinker to try to extend those trades there with ADD, make sure he survives through them. Good lord.
Whenever crit is complete on Gangplank, we know about the threat. Phantom Dancer Infinity Edge is godly when it comes to damage. And AD can't really do much in the face of the Gangplank anymore. The Ignite days are long gone. Much more about the team utility. So he'll just push and leave. Let's see if MVP can be proactive. Baron was their paddock. That was their playhouse in Game 1. They made very good plays around Baron. It was a counterpoint to their usual struggles around getting that objective cleanly. The map is in true 1-3-1 fashion, then SKT are the victors. Sivir and Azir both want to occupy the mid lane for the side of SKT, and ADD might just be dead, but he blows ult and backs away.
Thal really not pushing his luck with this.
Doesn't have any vision.
Kill the first time, yeah, doesn't have vision as you do say, but
he's already had egg on his face enough after Game 1 that, understandably, he's going to be a bit held in check. Take that, Wolf.
I mean, does quite a lot of damage.
Yep. Wolf very squishy, just a redemption to his name. Unseen threat here is Bang. Look at those summoner spots. Ghost Flash Kog'Maw. It's not mid lane AP Kog'Maw.
That is, I'm going to hound you down.
It's going to be, I need to get off this equalizer as soon as possible and away from the Jarvan as soon as possible. If Jarvan somehow comes from the side and ults him when his flash is down, he's in a lot of trouble.
Well, speaking of Jarvan,
Blank,
hello? Blank's going to go ahead and throw out the ultimate and just whip that one completely.
That was bad. Won't dwell on it, but kind of goes without being said that he threw the ult a bit too early there. Too late. But, okay, that was weird. We'll let the moment breathe. Return to the game, where Rumble still kind of has to work out how he's going to integrate himself to this game. Roaming up, level 15, so not quite the 16 that Thal has already hit as Ian. Now the FLICKR damage starting to pile up.
Yep. Bursts him down to about half HP as Blank gets chunked out the same way. Max and MaHa would love to push in, clear out those wards around the Baron pit, but it's just not safe enough. They don't have the vision.
A lot of people trying to catch ADD in transition, but takes the most defensive route out. MVP have kind of done the hard work around Dragon. They can afford to leave a cloud open and play towards the top side, so they don't need as much vision. Bottom side.
FLICKR just going straight in on top of Beyond. Chunks him down, trying to dissuade any further aggression from
He may
MVP.
be a level ahead of his opponent, but he's 4 levels behind FLICKR.
Yeah, just have to let that one go. FLICKR gonna make his way back to base.
Like it's just a Warmogs and an ultimate at this point in the game. Beyond, not too much more. So both junglers pretty irrelevant. When you do so much counter jungling, you cover so much ground that instead of just min-maxing power farming as if you were a Shyvana, you do end up actually being pretty far behind in terms of experience. The junglers are actually the same level as their supports, which doesn't happen in competitive level that much. Now we're watching MVP. Don't have anything aggressive. SKT, great control vision around the Baron. They control that objective. MVP cannot force it. Equal levels now on Blank and Beyond. A gold lead for SKT. There's a team fight that both these teams win, but a lot of it's on execution and actually sticking in engage when flashes are up.
Max right now just trying to keep Blank busy over on the sidelines. ADD joins in here in mid.
Big power spike for Thal. He has the Infinity Edge, so it wasn't Phantom Dancer first. It was actually IE. Huge backline threat. Can Crit Barrel either the Sivir or the Azir.
FLICKR's going aggressive here. Blank maybe looking for a second opportunity with his ultimate. As to toss it out, you had flash over the wall there by Max with a Devour onto ADD. Takes them both out to safety. MaHa just trying to make sure that they're safe over there. And FLICKR, he's going to go in. He's going to pop Ian. He is just eliminated out of the fight. Empress of Eye doing absolutely nothing. FLICKR barely takes any damage. Now SKT are going to push the advantage as they move in onto this tier 1 turret here in mid.
Ian was on a ward and it's got popped by the Glacial Prison. That one hits from Blank. Big advantage now as the world of the wave clear is gone. Sivir can't walk up. They're teleporting onto a ward. They want 2 turrets. Troll around the red side jungle is the first step towards Baron. The actual start of the Baron, when there is vision in the area from MVP, is deemed too risky. Still, 1 pick gets them 2 objectives, and it means that a further pick will mean that Baron starter kill here. So it was a big moment for SKT. Ian tried to be in a position to make something happen, but did not respect the vision from SKT ended up paying the price. Cloud Drake also has already spawned. I mentioned it. They didn't have control down the bot side at MVP. Giving up a Cloud doesn't matter to them. It's an answering Cloud Drake. Will also force the spawn of the Elder Dragon earlier, which when MVP are in a position where they can get a 3-stack Elder, if SKT ever fully cement control around Baron, means they have a decent trade coming through if they're forced.
Well, SKT with control here for the moment. Finally stretching a lead and reinstilling hope into the fans here in the audience.
A lot of what's happened since the early game has trivialized smart moves of the MVP player. The Beyond's counter jungling, battle warding, and also the Ignite Rumble are long a thing of the past. We're going to see 6-item on Thal very, very soon, working towards Steric's Gauge, and also the more Malmortius. Blank is caught up, largely in terms of experience, and the control and the denial on FLICKR and Fence doesn't matter.
On the Blank, that's going to be the Cataclysm coming down, but FLICKR's got the jump, Blank's got the charge, they make their way out. Blue buff will be taken here by MVP, but can't get that crucial pick onto the jungler of SKT so they can safely start up the Baron. Now, going to get pinched on here, ADD. Waiting for the ultimate to be tossed out. MaHa goes low, devours there from Max to keep him alive, has to pop the great health. MaHa jumps over the wall to keep himself in the fight, but has to just go ahead and run out of there as Max gets taken down. Now ADD being chased on. FLICKR goes in, finds the kill with the melee hit, and even Ian gets crit down to about half HP just from one parlay.
This control around Baron's getting them so much value. It's probably going to be a Baron start here from SK Telecom. They clear away the ward. They know that MaHa is in base, still healing up. See if SKT leash it. They do. And FLICKR's also. FLICKR and Thal both trying to stop Beyond from getting in there.
Yeah, trying to gatekeep. Beyond.
No vision.
I think he wants to go for this 50-50.
Usually a 50-50 person. If he had vision, he certainly would go for it. Doesn't. Ends up being a free Baron to the side of SK Telecom. Good work for them. Incrementally getting themselves close to this moment. Watch here as MaHa is ulted. Thal's ult gets big value. FLICKR gets into the backline, chunks him out, and everyone is out of position for MVP. There's no front-to-back fight because Beyond was on the Baron trying to clear vision, and then FLICKR can just start. Rift walking in, already level 17 as this fight begins. The crits are there. The Kassadin has his items. SKT is in a great spot to finish this game.
Well, it seems like we might be going to game 3 here. As if there was not much doubt to begin with. FLICKR becoming a bit of a monster here with this Kassadin. 3-0-1. And I would say that he's having a much better game than Grace on Zoe. They're having that similar scoreline.
It's also, you're struck by how much better SKT is playing the map. They don't necessarily have the sort of team that gets Baron control very often because they have only one face checker in the Sejuani, only one true tank. But Wolf coming in seems to have tightened their shot calling around that objective. While Blank was missing some ultimates, hit a key one onto Ian. And from there, they've kind of gained the maximum specifically around Baron, which was the way MVP got a lot of their leads in game 1. So good news stories for SKT are very important after a lackluster game 1. Now looking for a way to close the game, but we can never forget Azir and Sivir, 90-minute game, best friends forever.
Yeah, I mean, this could just be the beginning of a very long stall.
FLICKR was on Kassadin that time as well.
Oh God, you're right. Oh no. Why is this happening, Papa Smithy?
Because you're back, Kilios, that's why.
This year.
So, they're going to push 3 lanes.
I want off this ride.
Early enough into the game, but the wave clear is certainly very, very strong from MVP. As Sivir is the one champion to circumvent the issues with the tankiness of minions to magic damage in particular. So while Azir is doing reduced damage, the Sivir ricochet crits are still pretty insane.
Oh,
and looking for an aggressive play on Thal.
Yeah, going to be looking to take him down.
What's going to happen on the map as this happens, though?
Big Flame Spitter, Cannon Barrage comes down. Devour there to keep him alive. AD will survive, and MaHa picks up the kill, but that's going to be the inhibitor exposed and likely taken here on the top side of the map.
And that's why I was talking about the minimap as we were watching Gangplank die. This is against Baron buff. It seemed like a bizarre decision from MVP. They get the pick, but they lose, and the base is broken early into the game. First kill on the board for MVP.
A far cry from a perfect game here for SK Telecom, but still a lot cleaner than the first one. Look, SKT just going to go back to base. Only 35 seconds remaining with the Baron buff, so might as well utilize the faster recall speed. So we'll give the MVP a breather to at least push out, get rid of the wards that are forward into their side of the jungle.
AD is going to get caught here.
Yeah, FLICKR roaming his way in, does a ton of damage. Equalizer going to get thrown down, but FLICKR can just sidestep that very easily. ADD trying to close the gap, desperately wanting to get over to Max, but it was true desperation, and it was nowhere close. FLICKR claims another soul.
Say optimism is eternal, but he wasn't getting to the Tahm Kench there. Even 2 flashes. Need a couple more flashes to get there, unfortunately. So
yeah.
AD dies. FLICKR in a side lane, not on a tank, is certainly a welcome sight. The SKT fans push up bot lane. Minion wave's well pushed out in top side, so for now the map pressure of having a downed inhibitor isn't going to be hurting MVP.
This is probably the stage where ADD is just really wishing that he had gone for the Nasus.
Don't know if it was just a shout out to Thal's misfortune in game 1 or a serious hover by ADD. Trying to accelerate the game here.
Yeah, SKT is serious about taking down this turret. TP coming in onto the minions yet again. Chunk out there onto MaHa. He goes low. Does not have the flash available as FLICKR chases forward, tries to finish him up, but can't quite get it. In the meantime, Ian, he goes forward, and he'll just get taken down as FLICKR claims the kill.
Both Ian and MaHa caught at the same time. Ian had no escape plans and wanted to take someone with him. Not able to do that. Elder can be taken for SKT. A denial from MVP on a buff they desperately need.
That one down, now Elder Dragon ready to go. SKT can just pick that up, go back into the base, finish it off, and likely close out this game. It's not the fastest that we've seen, but it's methodical. SKT making sure that they don't make any mistakes that MVP can very easily capitalize on.
It's not the fastest, it's not the cleanest, but SKT are not the best team in the league. It needs to be better than previous performances. It is. It's a better game too here. They've largely stuck a lot of the decision-making that's been wayward in previous games. Wolf coming in has given this team a noticeable impact. First in the laning phase, that's a lot about taking the Soraka and having no threat coming onto him by MaHa. Did not go for the anti-spell, but we haven't spoken about that, but wasn't getting the extra shot in to try to pressure the Kog'Maw. It seems like the team shot calling has been largely leveled up. How much of that is causal to Wolf, we can't know, but observable in this game so far. FLICKR also was able to go a tanky build, lose his turret, and now be 10-stack Corrupting Potion, and has his damage trio done as well. So FLICKR massively strong. Yes, Dark Seal. So
10 stacks on a Corrupting Potion would be like
that'd be a lot of regen.
The 10-pot Rengar days.
Medjai's hasn't come through, but it's probably not a Medjai's day when you're 1-0 down to MVP.
I'd say screw it. Be the alpha.
I don't think FLICKR's ever had a problem with being the alpha.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Do the Medjai's.
Still time for that. 2 inhibitors down, pushing out the 3rd minion wave. Minion pushing in mid lane. In about a minute and a half, they should have a minion wave pushing in top lane as well. SKT were able to skip stacks with a teleport onto a minion, allowing them to take the last turret. Let's see what Blank wants to do here. Already Gangplank ult invested.
Banks just firing away. Siege mode here with the Kog'Maw. That down to about half HP already. Have to trade back and likely wait for the next wave to crash, which is still a little ways away, but they have that pressure building up into the top lane with the Super Creeps crashing in.
Next minion wave will really overpower the top side. Minion wave in mid lane far away, but SKT. Gangplank ult is down, but the Sejuani ult can be used to buy space. Even an Arctic Assault forward, you're gonna see a Rift walk forward instead. Yep.
FLICKR goes in, the turret goes down. Tower comes out, trying to keep Ian alive and in the fight, but a huge chunk goes through onto MaHa and Max as they get sent packing back over towards the fountain. Now Beyond getting engaged on. FLICKR goes forward, will finish him off, and is chasing forward even further with Bang at his side. Inhibitor dead, all 3 gone. Does SKT want to stick around for the Nexus turrets?
The answer's most likely yes. Achilleos with Beyond dead for 40 seconds. In a push in, they want to wreck this space. Ian takes a huge crit barrel.
Disgusting amount of damage there from Thal. Seems like SKT, again, just going to play this one as methodically as possible. The Baron has respawned. Retreat, pick that up, and go straight back in. Top inhibitor also respawning now as well.
With Azir alive and no Baron buff, they decide they can't end the game. They don't just want to take Nexus turrets, so securing a Baron and stopping MVP getting one. They recalled late, was a call by SKT. Certainly has validity. Not the fastest Baron ever when it's just 2 members on it. But Thal decided that he's on goalkeeping duty. No ability for MVP to contest this, no smite to steal it anyway. Second Baron in the game, cleanly taken by SKT.
Thal right there. With a cheeky last hit, finishes it off. And everybody will go back to base. Well, this is pretty much over.
That's a fair read. Only a single kill to MVP. The side lane pressure, the invading of the jungle was very impressive in the early game. Love the number Beyond did. But it was very much a step 1 success into a step 2, step 3 kind of quizzical look into what they need to do to transfer the pressure, to really accelerate the game. It's a good start, but unfortunately they didn't have all pages of the playbook ready to be read out. And that means that SKT eventually were able to balance tankiness and also just now sheer damage from the Gangplank and the Kassadin. FLICKR wants to go legendary before this game ends. At 6-0-1 so far. A single pick will end the game, so SKT starting to get 3 minion waves pushing and to kill the top lane inhibitor again.
You gotta wonder how much of this cleaner play is a result of Wolf coming in. You see Beyond getting chunked down yet again. FLICKR goes forward. It's a little bit of damage there onto Max, but the crits from MaHa do come through, and they work him down to about half HP. But you can see he is not dissuaded. He, in fact, is going to go forward. Goes golden right as the Emperor's Divide comes through, and it's going to be Beyond going down first and foremost. Now MaHa getting crit, gets sent back to the fountain, barely dodges out on the artillery from the Kog'Maw. Will heal up, but SKT with Baron-empowered super creeps are in onto the Nexus turrets, and they are not lasting very long.
For them to close the game, not perfect by SKT, but certainly better. Taking all the inhibitors again. 4 members of MVP at decent life totals, but even a single Q chunking out Ian.
Back to the fountain. It's just a fireman's drill back and forth as they try to get here to defend, but now Nexus exposed. SKT
they've been here before, Achilles. Remember that game against Gina. They're showing a lot of respect to MVP.
Oh, Blank is going to get chunked out. He's going to go low, but he manages to stay alive. The Soraka heal coming through the Wish, keeping him in the fight. FLICKR goes in, tries to finish off the Nexus, but cannot quite get it, and I am getting Nam-esque flashbacks right now, Papa Smithy, as SKT start hightailing it out of the space.
I mean, it's the Azir and Sivir. It's the same duo. They're showing a lot of respect. No one other than FLICKR went in. Looking at the damage he was doing, it seemed like if they all suicided for the Nexus, they would have ended the game. There wasn't a clear call for it.
Where have I heard that before? Oh boy.
Game extends. Still SKT massively ahead. Gold lead is 13,000. The items are very, very one-sidedly to the side of SKT. But until the Nexus explodes, people are not going to call this one. Again, impression is if they go straight for the Nexus, Kassadin can 3-shot it. If he dies, Kog'Maw should be free hitting at the same time. That wasn't the way SKT picked up the victory they kind of already had penciled in against Jin-Air. It's against the same champions. This time they roll in. They'll want to end it on this passage of play.
20 seconds left here on the Baron buff. Bot lane pretty shoved out top as well, so just the mid lane the concern here for MVP as they desperately try to hold on. Cannon Barrage comes down. Cataclysm in onto FLICKR. He gets chunked out, but so does Beyond. The Nexus has been engaged on. ADD wiped off the face of the earth, as is MaHa. Everybody pretty much on the side of MVP gonna get taken out other than Beyond, but the Nexus will go down with them. No 95-minute long game here, no breaking of the record, but SKT with Wolf back in at the support role, tie up the series. We're going to game 3.
The job is not done. SKT are not redeemed, but a step towards redemption that they feel like it will be inevitable eventually. They were able to right the ship. They did not sub out Thal for Untar. They kept Thal in the lineup. Wolf coming in for effort seemed to shore up some of their shot calling problems. They looked a lot more comfortable on the Baron especially, and FLICKR ended the game legendary, which will also buoy his confidence. SKT will want to come in to game 3 and blow away MVP like so many other opponents of MVP have already done this season. MVP will say game 2 was a mistake. The draft of the Rumble did not work. We still are finally poised here. Is it going to be SK Telecom winning the series and actually getting a run of victories, or will it be MVP ending the heist? That much remains to be seen.
We're back over onto the blue side where they got the victory in game 1, so we'll see what MVP can piece together. But with the Kassadin back out, you have to expect this is going to shake things up for the draft here for MVP and how they're going to think through this one. We'll see what happens, but SKT, they want this one to be the next step in the progress. They lose game 1, they come back in, play a methodical game 2, get the victory. Now they want to just smash MVP.
It was close to mistake-free League of Legends by SKT. Close to, not there, but close to a step towards it. And after game 1's error-ridden display, that's what their fans wanted to see.
Yeah, bit of a cleanup there in the beginning of the game where Beyond was giving Blank the runaround. We'll see how they're going to tackle it here in game number 3 as we get ready to close out the night, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in just a few minutes to see the conclusion of this heated series between MVP and SK Telecom T1.